another opportunity for us to see what our players know. During practice, oftentimes we do a lot of coaching. Well, today we wanted to see what those guys know, and we wanted to let them go out and work on running, blocking, tackling, catching the ball, throwing it. And I thought there were some good things today, but also some not so good things that we've got to get fixed. As I always say, it's a good scrimmage when we have the ebb and flow of both sides of the ball doing some good things. If there was an Achilles heel to today, we still have some work to do in our special teams. Had too many penalties, and the execution of some of the techniques weren't where we need them to be. And so we've got to get that stuff cleaned up, which I know we will. We've got one more opportunity in the shell next Saturday to get stuff cleaned up, but was really pleased with the way today's scrimmage went and getting out of it healthy. So that's a major key for us. With that, I'll open it up, Ben, to any questions.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Ryan McFadden from the Baltimore Sun.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
How you doing, Ryan?
Doing good. My first question for you is I wanted to ask, how did Dante Demas look during the scrimmage? And I was curious, how much involvement did he have during the scrimmage today?
Yeah, Dante took part in the scrimmage, made a couple of good plays in there for us. He's still right on track like we talked about in our opening media opportunity. Like I said, having him back is a plus for Maryland because of the leadership he brings and because of the type of player he is. And so it was good to see him out in the shell, running, catching, blocking. We'll continue to kind of bring him back the right way, which is limiting kind of his load. But today he was able to get some work and was really pleased with what I saw.
Reminder to please chat me if you have a question. We'll go to Noah Ferguson.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
What's up, Noah? How are you?
I'm good. So you've been talking a lot about how it's been Terps versus Terps throughout fall camp and into the season and focusing on execution. So what steps have you been taking throughout fall camp and in the scrimmage today to help manifest that when September 3rd rolls around?
Well, it's like anything, you continue to talk about it, you coach it up. Terps versus Terps isn't just a camp thing. To me, it's an always thing because the opponent is really important, but what's more important is that good teams don't beat themselves in any of the three phases, and that's what Terps versus Terps are for us. It's us not beating ourselves and having self-inflicted errors like turnovers and penalties and drop balls and missed tackles. Those are all things that we can control. So, when we reference Terps versus Terps, it's us managing and taking care of the things that we can control, which is half the battle to winning. Obviously we got opponents to prepare for, but as I told our team, the biggest opponent for us is making sure that we don't beat ourselves because good teams don't do that. And we got to continue to work through that. I've seen some maturity from our team in that aspect. I've seen the leadership from within, which is part of it. And now it's just a matter of playing good, smart, clean football.
We'll go to Ahmed Gephir next.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
What's up, Ahmed?
Good. I know that obviously just roughly having that first week at Pad so far. I know before fall camp, you kind of mentioned, this is kind of the time where you find, your playmakers, your leaders, things like that. Anyone kind of been able to fill those shoes early on?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a bunch of guys that make some plays in practices and games. The guys that have been around here and done good things have still been consistent in the receiver room, the running back room, our DBs, the front seven. So it's really hard right now to just throw out some names. If I were to throw out a name, I'd say it starts with Chad Ryland, our kicker. I haven't talked a lot about that, but probably one of the best pickups we've had out of the transfer portal. Another weapon. Scoring the ball is really important, and he came back from his off-season training and has been killing the ball, and I'm really, really excited about having that consistency from that position. So if I had to give somebody a little love about, the guys that really have stood out to me, it's Chad Ryland, and his confidence is at all-time high. He's kicking the ball out of the end zone on kickoffs. He's been very accurate on his field goals throughout camp, and I really expect him to have a big year for us.
We'll go to Wes Brown.
Hey, Coach.
What's up, Wes?
So obviously this group, bringing back the most returning starters out of all the schools in the Big Ten. For you, obviously, there are a lot of younger players who figure to make an impact. Are there any guys who have stood out so far in terms of trying to fill some of those gaps that maybe people aren't focusing on with all the guys coming back?
Yeah, I mean, again, I know you guys love like throw names out, man, and it's just way too early. Our first scrimmage, I haven't had a chance to necessarily evaluate the tape. As I've said before, collectively, the young running back room have all done some really good things. The offensive line has continued the improvement that we wanted to see. You know, everybody talks about our receivers. You know, our DBs with Dante Banks back and Jacorian Bennett, as well as Tarheeb, you know, healthy. I've been really happy with those guys. And then, you know, Jayshawn Barham and Caleb Whelan, two young linebackers, you know, in there along with, you know, Ruben Hippolyte and guys like Jeremy Spraggins, all kind of continue to come along. So lots of names. Again, too many to necessarily call out one or two guys.
We'll go to Sam Ostry.
Hey, Coach, what's going on?
What's happening, Sam?
Doing well. Earlier this week, it was announced that Vernon Davis is headed to the Maryland Sports Hall of Fame. You obviously played a big part in recruiting him back then. Can you just talk about what you remember from recruiting him and what your relationship is like with him now?
Yeah, you know, he was part of a class that was probably one of the more higher ranked classes that Maryland has had. And I can remember, you know, he's a guy that, much like the Rakims and the Stephon Diggs, he was part of the forefather of the DMV movement of staying home, and could have went anywhere in the country and decided to stay right here at home and made used this platform to create a great career at the NFL and now even beyond with some of the things he's doing in his life after football. Comes from a great family, Grandma, Miss Adeline, who, you know, I've had the opportunity to get to know her very well, having recruited Vernon to Maryland, and obviously Dante, his brother, to Illinois. Know the family very well. Was a guy, like I said, that came in, stayed home, showed that staying home, you still can reach the goals you want to reach by playing here at Maryland for the hometown team. And again, a great Terp.
We'll go back to Ryan McFadden.
Oh, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Austin Fontaine. This is a guy who's bounced between offense and defense so far during his time here. What are your expectations for him this year?
No, I've been excited with what he's done on the defensive line. You know, he came here as a D lineman. We moved him over to offense out of necessity for the last couple of years. And then at the end of this season, he and I had to sit down and talk. And, you know, he felt his best opportunity to maybe go to the next level would be as a defender. And, you know, I've never been a guy that makes a player play a position they don't want to play. And moving him back over to defense, he's been able to fit in well with the front seven. And he'll be a guy that'll play a lot of football for us as a DN, D tackle, that 4-eye technique we like to play. And he's athletic and can run. So been pleased with what I've seen out of him back on the defensive side of the football. And he'll be able to add some things to our defense.
We'll go back to Noah Ferguson.
Coach, Darrell Chami was able to rush the passer on both sides of the defense last season before he went down. What about his versatility has made it able for him to be effective on both sides of your defense?
Yeah, I mean, we don't play right and left. And so, you know, our defense will they play both sides, which to me gives them the ability to show they have that ability diversity-wise to play on both left and right. And, you know, Chami is a natural pass rusher, a quick twitch athlete that plays with great speed to power. You know, when he is healthy, he has been a productive guy for us. And, you know, for us to take the next step on defense, we're going to have a big year out of Darrell, rushing the passer, setting the edge with his athleticism. And, you know, the fact that he plays in both the right hand and left-handed stance is great for him and for him using that ability to create value for himself.
We'll go to Scott Green.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, Scott?
Not much. Just wanted to ask kind of about you touched on the freshman linebackers. I know you're getting a couple guys back from injury like Chami and Gote, but when you go into these scrimmages here, before the season starts, what are kind of some of the positions where you're kind of looking at the biggest competition?
We've created depth at all these positions, and so it's always going to be competition, and that's how we wanted to be around here. We really believe that when you have great competition, it brings out the best in our players, and that's one of the things through recruiting. We've been able to create the necessary depth that allows that competition to happen, and we see it in the running back room, we see it in the receiver room. We've got some talented players there. From a tight end standpoint, guys like CJ Dupree and Corey Dyches, and you throw LaRon Husbands in there and been really pleased with, his development. I thought from the inside linebacker position has some really good depth there. And so there's been great competition with those guys. And, up front, we rotate a bunch of players. So we always want to keep healthy guys on the field. And we've created pretty good depth in the front seven. So that competition is something that's ongoing. It's something that's really made us a better team.
Does anyone have anything else before we wrap up?
I have one question. So,
Go for it.
coming out of the scrimmage from a health standpoint, were there any injuries during the scrimmage that you might want to address?
As of right now, there weren't any that where they were out and couldn't return. I mean, we've had nicks and bruises. Have not met with our trainer yet. We usually do that here. We just kind of finished up, and I'll know a little bit more after the players check in here. Now that the scrimmage has ended.
We'll take one more with Josh.
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
What's up, Josh?
I have a question about the defensive side of the ball. How has the communication been within the secondary?
It's been clean. To me, when you look at kind of last season and one of the areas we wanted to kind of clean up for us to play better on defense, we had to limit the big plays, the missed assignments that create the big plays. And a lot of those missed assignments a year ago were, some communications issues between safeties to corners or safeties to linebackers, getting us lined up correctly. And, one of the things we challenged our team with this year was let's do a great job of communicating, getting lined up, and then executing. If we want to limit the big plays, then we got to limit the missed assignments and the missed tackles. And I've seen us, even after the day, our first time in the shell, I leave there pretty pleased with the way I thought we played defense today.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.